Pharmacist First Class, Edward F. McHenry, United States Navy, World War II. Folks, had the pleasure and opportunity and the honor of interviewing Ed McHenry in Rancho Santa Fe, California. It was September 29, 2005, almost 20 years ago. Had a great interview with him and some others in the area at that time. Ed joined the military in 1942 and he became a Navy corpsman, and he called himself a Marine in the interview, and I thought that was very appropriate. The Navy corpsmen were attached to the Marines, and obviously they were just like one of them. But he tells a very emotional story about Iwo Jima. Ed is featured in my film on the Battle of Iwo Jima, and he was in his 80s, passed away in 2018 at the age of 94, February, I believe, of 2018, and just one of my heroes, one of my unsung heroes that's gone now, folks. He served, like I said, as a Navy corpsman with the 5th Marine Division on Iwo Jima. And he also was wounded on March 5th on the island and received a Purple Heart. But he relieved George Wayland. Now, if you know your history, folks, George Wayland is a Congressional Medal of Honor recipient. I interviewed George about a year before I interviewed Ed, and Ed actually took George's place when he was wounded on Iwo Jima. So just an amazing story. So much history. These stories are just full of history. That's why I love them. But he goes on and tells that story. Retired from the Marine Corps, went on to live a very successful life in California. And I miss Ed with all my veterans. And like I said, just a wonderful man. I want to give some thanks here to some people that have helped bring you these stories. These are unsung heroes to me, just like my veterans are. But these are some of the people that have consistently sponsored my work. And I just want to honor them right now. So I'm going to call out a few names. I could call out a lot of names, but these guys are at the front of the pack right now. So S.K. Ofstad, thank you, sir. Love you, brother. Michael and Darlene Sarofsky, John and David Penn, Rita Schultz, Harry Marshall, Patrick Stillwell, Bill and Mary Claire Amer, and Brandon Glidden. These are just some of the folks that have really helped folks. And they've come through. I can honestly say this channel would not exist, or my radio station, without the help of these people. And there have been others too, but I would just want to at least name them. And God bless you guys and gals. I love you. Thank you for it. And I appreciate you so much more than words can say. And you're helping me on a major, major mission that I have. So thank you. Folks, I would invite you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't, and to share these videos. History is best learned from those who were there. And my goal has always been to get this into the hands of our younger generation. And the radio station, I was hoping would do that. I don't know if it's doing that, but that's one of my goals for starting the radio station, was to get living history in the palm of our kids' hands. If you're an educator out there, there'd be no greater history lesson that you can give them, to have them watch a couple of these stories and do a book report or something like that. Okay, let's get into the story. Let's honor Ed McHenry. I'm so proud of him and the service he gave to our country. Almost said in the Marine Corps as a Navy corpsman, but he was a Marine. He had a heart of a Marine, so God bless him. I will talk to you in my next broadcast. okay?
Okay.
Don't be looking in the camera.
Larry, you're going to get a lot of specifics from this guy, more than I can tell you about Iwo Jima. He'll be able to tell you.
Well, I've done almost 200 interviews, just to let you know, in the last 3 years. So, but Ed, the first thing I want to ask you is, you're with the 5th Marine Division.
Yes.
What was your rank and your title?
I was a pharmacist mate, first class, who now it's better known as corpsman. And what else was it?
Okay, that was it. That's
Okay.
good right there. And you were with the 5th Marine Division.
Yes.
Tell me what you remember about the night before the landing on Iwo. Where were you? What were your thoughts, Ed, and the mood of the troops?
We were aboard the ship. I forget the name of it. I could look it up, but I don't know. I don't think we realized what we were getting into, and so it really kind of just excitement of you know, we're going to war finally. I mean, some of us had been in Guadalcanal and down in that part of the world, and we just really, there was no excitement about it. It's just a matter of doing your job and going.
Had you been in combat before?
No, it's the only time.
How old are you now, Ed?
I'm 81.
So you were what, 20 then?
Yes, I was, at 21, 4 days before we hit Iwo.
Okay. So you're very young. What do you think the mood of the other troops were? Were they light, serious? What?
I think they felt the same way I did. You didn't know what to expect, because we didn't know, ever heard of Iwo Jima, and didn't realize what we were getting into, and so there'd be no way for them to know. They, once you start shooting at you, why then it's you learn fast. But there was really just, we did the light drills and board ship, and they tried to fill you with all the information of what we were going to see there or expect there, but we just went in and did our job.
What about the morning of the landing? Did you get up early? Did you have a last meal?
Yeah, we were early. We didn't go in till 11. I think we were in about 11 o'clock. The D-Day or D-hour started, I think, at 8. And so we waited around for a couple hours, and then we got off the ship by going down the rope ladders and got into the landing craft and circled around for a little bit, and then we went in as the waves went in.
Where were you in the boat? What part of the boat were you in? Do you remember?
I really don't remember.
Were you with 30 or so men, 30, 35 men in the boat?
Yeah. The only thing is that you could see them getting blown up as they were going in, so you were a little, make sure you weren't in a boat that got the bullet. But we circled around for a while, and then we hit the beach and started in.
So as you're approaching shore, the Japanese are already starting to fire?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Describe this again. You're going in, are you hunkered down, are you standing up, and you see a boat blowing out of the water?
You were hunkered down. I mean, everybody was. And then when the landing craft opened up, why, you went in, and I think I hadn't gotten 10 feet on shore, and all the training that we had was thrown out the window. It was nothing. When you go ashore, there's dead bodies laying all over the place, and they didn't train for. I believe the command didn't realize it was going to be as rough as it was, but the Japanese were so tunneled in that the bombings that they created from the ships and the airplanes just didn't faze them, and so. When I first, my training was, I was in headquarters company, which meant you just had a bigger foxhole, and the Marines, that were injured or killed, they'd bring to us, and we'd do whatever we could do to them, and then we'd call and they'd get taken to the beach to go aboard the ships, hospital ships or whatever was out there, and or they were dead and they'd have to mark them. And I did that for roughly, we went in on the 19th, and I got hit on the 7th, or the 5th, excuse me, of March. And I stayed at headquarters company until Fox Company, the corpsman was hit bad. He eventually became George Whalen became a Medal of Honor winner, and I took his place out with Fox Company. And I don't remember how long I was doing, I did that, but I was called by a Marine to go follow him up. There was a Marine that was hurt. So I said, let's go, and we started up the incline, and
It's okay. Okay.
Yeah.
George Whalen is one of my men.
yeah,
He's in my film.
he was a good friend.
Yeah. So you replaced him, basically?
Yes.
When he was wounded?
Yes, he was wounded several times, and he gave me his .45, which I don't have now, and anyway, it was this Marine that I was following got hit in the head, and the bullet came down, and
Were you able to help him then, or was he killed right there?
he was killed. But the bullet, for some reason, had hit my kit and exploded, and I got.
Okay, just take your time. We can pause. You were trained to, you were corpsman medic. I mean, what do you do when you come across a wounded man? I mean, do you evaluate him? Do you put bandages on? Do you give morphine? Is that kind of what you do?
Yes, you just do whatever you can do, plug a wound, and then you call for help, and they'll take them to where the headquarters field hospital basically is what it was, and they send, as I said before, they send them on to wherever to the beach. And
They're evacuated out?
they what?
They're evacuated out?
Yes, then they're evacuated out. And
how many corpsmen per man? Or like one for every 50 men or something like that? Or
some ratio like that. I don't remember what it was. I think it's each platoon had a corpsman. And somewhere in my records it tells, I have it written down. But
let me ask you a question, Ed. You got shot on March 5th.
yes.
Did you see the flag raising then?
No, I was just honestly too busy. I didn't see the flag raising at all.
Okay.
In fact, I didn't even know a flag was up there because.
So you didn't even see it or nothing?
No.
Okay, did you guys you had a 45 or you had a rifle, or what did you carry with you? Anything?
I carried a carbine and a 45 and our medical kit, and that was enough.
Yeah. So now, I know a lot of corpsmen were casualties on Iwo Jima. People don't realize that, but I know a lot of corpsmen were
Oh
killed
yeah, some of my best friends were killed.
Yeah.
Standing right next to you, and one particular friend was from Louisiana. Secor was his name, and he took off his helmet for about 30 seconds and just That was it. I mean, that really shocked me when I saw that. Because I could have been, you know, standing 2 feet from him, I could have been the next, but luckily I wasn't.
Let me ask you a question now. Did the helmet provide any protection? If he would had the helmet on, would it still kill him, you think? Or
I doubt it. I doubt it. I assume that the Jap was up a little high and just shot down at him. He, you know, his helmet could have helped him. I don't think so, but he got shot right between the eyes. And
do you think do you think the Japanese were watching for times when you guys would take your helmets off?
no, I don't think so. I think it's just an opportune, and it happens so fast that you can't say.
Was there a particular type of wound that was more common than others on Iwo, or was there? I mean,
No.
were they bullet wounds, shrapnel?
Shrapnel was the biggest, because mortars and then, but they're so buried in caves that and tunnels that you know, you just have to go into the flame throwers and try to get them out of there. And I joined the Navy, and I applied for aviation machinist and aviation, anything I could do with that, get on a carrier. And when I went through boot camp, I was interviewed, and I said I graduated from high school, and the officer says, well, what'd you take in high school? And I said, all the subjects, and I said biology, and that was my mistake, because he says, you're going to make a corpsman. So I went to Corps school in San Diego, boot camp in San Diego, and this being my hometown, and went to Corps school, and then from there, I honestly consider myself a Marine. I went out to Camp Elliott and joined the Fleet Marine Force out there, and we trained, hawked all over the backcountry of San Diego. And then from there, they were forming the 5th Division up in Camp Pendleton, and so I wore the Marine Corps uniform for darn near 3 years, never anything else. And I have great respect for Marine.
A lot of pride and.
Well, when we used to train, you know, these guys be carrying these big machine guns and BCRs, and we'd be right behind them, and we'd have to help them out, because that was tough at Camp Pendleton. You know, there's a lot of rough spots up there, and then since my wife got me to go to the Iwo Jima reunion, and I said, no, I don't want to go. I don't know anybody. And it was up at Camp Pendleton. She talked me into going, and I met some of my friends that I never knew what happened to them. And then that was back in '84, I think, when it was. No, yeah, I think it was. And since then, I've been going to reunion every year. I missed a couple of them. They're all over the country in different cities, and it was great to go to different cities. And in the F Company, the Fox Company, there's just a month ago, we had a reunion, the 5th Marine Division, and our Fox Company within the 5th Marine Division has a reunion, and there's only about 20 of us, so it's getting kind of...
You just had that?
Pardon?
You just had the Fox Company reunion?
Yeah.
Where was that at?
At Philadelphia, where they had the 5th Division has a reunion for all the 5th Marine Division's Iwo Jima survivors. And within that, our Fox Company has a reunion, and at the same place, but different areas, and we've come real close.
I was in Philadelphia.
Yes.
I went to the Saturday business meeting and was at the banquet that night
Well,
at the Lowe's.
I don't go to the banquets. I usually figure there's just a bunch of going on. I didn't go to the business meeting this year, but
You know Charlie Baker from Dayton, Ohio?
no.
He's at the company. Okay,
Is
yeah,
I,
it's fine. So anyways, now, but back at Iwo now, you were there to March 5th and then you were shot and you were taken off the island.
yes,
Can you tell me what happened to you and where it was, what was going on?
well, I was so swollen up there that I couldn't walk, so they put me down, and by that time they had the airfield secured, which was the primary reason the Marines were there to take the island for the get the airfield ready. And when the bombers came back from Japan, they had if they had a problem, they had a place to land. And I was on first, I think I was told, a first evacuation plane. And I flew from there to Guam and was in the hospital there for a couple of weeks. And then the swelling went down. I got shrapnel still, but I went back to Hawaii on a plane and went back up to the big island in Hawaii where we trained. We trained there for, I don't know, about 6 months before we went to Iwo. And I went up there to, there was 2 or 3 people that I knew that stayed behind. One of them, they're the older ones that they didn't figure they'd send over to Iwo. And I stayed there, I was there for a few days, and then the Army Shore Patrol or the military police were in Hilo, and they wanted me to go down and give, when the Marines came back, to give them sobriety tests. Well, they asked the wrong person, but I went down there and I could see Marines that came back from me who were down there on Liberty, just you know, drinking and everything. They'd get pretty well loaded, and they'd bring them into the police, military police headquarters, and say, "What's wrong with this guy?" And then you know, he couldn't even stand up, and I'd say, "He's fine." No, I wasn't about to buddy Marine find him for being drunk. And so they said, "Well, you're useless here." So they sent me back up to Camaraderie, which is in where we trained at. And then we trained, and we went to loaded, and we went to Japan. And being a first-class pharmacist mate, I was treated pretty royally. And we went to Sasebo on the southern island, Japan, and we landed in a landing craft, and we went ashore, and we had our rifles. We didn't know what to expect in Japan, and when the front of the landing craft went down, we went running up, and here was 2 Japanese civilians dressed up with the formal top hats and the formal tuxedo type clothing, and we didn't think that was going to be too rough. And the only thing they wanted to show us where the latrines were, so that was a funny part of the whole. But we stayed there. I stayed there for, I guess, about 2 months, and then I had enough points, and came back to San Diego.
Well, back on Iwo though, I mean, the battle's going on, you were wounded.
Yeah, it ended, I think, the last of March.
Did you know Father Bradley?
Who?
Father Bradley, he was with the chaplain with the 5th Division.
No.
Never heard of him?
No.
One of the Catholic chaplains on Iwo Jima.
Oh.
When you landed on the 19th, February 19th. Do you remember approximately what time of day? Was it morning, afternoon?
Well, it was 11 o'clock in the morning. I think between 11 and 12 we went in.
You mentioned your training. You know, how could it prepare you for something like that? I mean, how do you function in an atmosphere like that? Are you trained? Were you told that there might be a lot of casualties and just take one at a time, or I mean, weren't you overwhelmed?
Yeah, yes, we were overwhelmed, but the training, we never had training that what we ran into on Iwo. It was, I mean, because of just going, people getting hurt, shot, killed all the time, and so I think you just assumed that's the way it's going to be, and you just went and did your business.
Did you feel useless at all, or do you feel like you were being productive and you were making a difference?
Oh yes. Well, I hope it was a difference. But we had a lot of corpsmen that survived. I got a picture of the ones that survived.
You brought it with you today?
Yeah.
Good.
And a lot of, I think the thing that I've impressed me most is the Marines have taken care of us, even up to today.
Well, tell me about I asked Mortis, tell me about the pride and the camaraderie of the Marines on Iwo Jima. I mean,
we had it all the time when we were on Liberty. I was born and bred in San Diego. I had a mother and father here, but most of the time I'd get a 72-hour leave. I'd go to Los Angeles with a couple of friends, buddies, corpsmen, and we'd get up there and buddy around with all the Marines. We just seemed to be the thing to do. So.
But on Iwo Jima, the camaraderie, I mean, those guys looked after each other.
Oh yeah, all the time, yeah.
You hear stories about Marines throwing themselves on grenades to save their buddies. Did you ever see anything like that?
No, but I'm sure it was going on. You really, honest with you, you didn't have time to observe things like that. Maybe you can sit back and reflect it now, but I didn't. They had people. They all had grenades on them because. At night you didn't know what was going to happen. You could have a Japanese coming into your foxhole, and you had to get rid of them. And so sometimes you use a grenade, but mostly we just had our carbine. And
did you did you see any of the Marines like knock out a cave or a pillbox and flamethrowers and grenades? Did you see any of that going on?
I saw some of it, but I was just more interested in going after somebody that was hurt.
So when somebody's wounded, is it automatic to say corpsman? Is that what they would say? Or
yeah.
Did it ever get to where you're so busy you just couldn't go every time that somebody said corpsman? I'm sure the cries for corpsman were pretty common.
Yeah, but well, you tried to take care of what we could. That's about it. We had, I think there's about one to the platoon. They had 3 rifle platoons in a company, and plus the other platoons, the mortars and the BARs, and I assume it was enough corpsmen. They had casualties too, but.
This is kind of a general question. You probably already answered it, but was there a harder time for you on that island, or was it all bad? I mean, it was all hard and different.
It was all bad. Yeah, it was tough.
What do you think, looking back 60 years, Ed? What does Iwo Jima mean to you today?
Oh golly, it was a time in my life and the United States life that we had to do it after we, not realizing how bad it was going to be. And I don't think it compares to what they're fighting now, because it was a different type of war.
So it was, I mean, does it have, do you think about it? Does it seem like 60 years ago, or does it seem like yesterday?
It seems like yesterday, but I think about it quite often.
What are your thoughts when you think about it? What are you thinking about?
All the people that gave their lives. And I hope I contributed, a little bit.
You know, as a World War II veteran, I asked Mort this question, but looking back 60 years as an American citizen and as a World War II veteran, well, what does freedom mean to you?
Well, it means I'm not speaking a foreign language, and this country has gobbled it up and use it, but I don't think most people appreciate it. I don't think they know what they have, and it's too bad. I see the young people out there protesting, whether it's right or wrong. I think about those poor guys in Iraq. But freedom's great.
What would you tell a young person today about the price for freedom?
Well, I think in our day, we didn't have time to think about it. It was just automatic. I mean, we were at war. Whether you're drafted or enlisted, you went going to protect your country. Nowadays, I don't think most young people think that everything should be given to them. Honestly do. It's too bad, because, but they claim that, they say that the older generation created what we have, and the situation is, I just hate all the politics, and I can see their side of it when they see all the politics in this country that's gotten out of hand, but
What does this country and the American flag mean to you?
it means a lot. It means a lot. This country means a lot to me. The American flag, I fly it all the time I can in my home, and I feel good about it. Just.
Are you in touch with George Whalen at all? Do you talk to him?
I've talked, no, not as close. I haven't talked to him he didn't come to the reunion in Philadelphia. I understand he's had heart problems. He lives in Utah.
Yeah, I've been to his home.
Have you?
Yeah.
Is it Roy, Utah, I believe?
Utah.
Yeah. And, but when the last reunion, I talked to him quite a little bit. In fact, he was we had a reunion in San Diego, and I think 93 years ago, I think 2 years, 3 years ago. And he came to that, and but I understand he's pretty much in demand. He was, and I think that took a lot out of him, but he was a fine person.
Well, I think that's about all the questions I have. I'm thinking about Iwo. Since you were wounded on the 5th, and you were taken off the island then, so that really ended your time on Iwo Jima. So,
Yeah.
I think you mentioned just briefly, but why we needed Iwo Jima? Why was that island so important?
Well, from what I understand, is the airfield that was there, and to secure the island and get the airport or airport ready for the bombers that came. And I talked to a man a couple of months ago that he was in command of a plane, and they landed on Iwo, and not just when he was in the service. He was, I believe, he was in the Air Force, and he says if it wasn't for that airport there, that they wouldn't have made it, and that's the reason. Because I guess they just barely got the secured the airfield, and they were coming. Bombers were coming back from Japan, and they had to have a crash landing or land somewhere, and saved a lot of lives. And that's the you can say whether it was worth it or not. I don't know. But I think there were 7,000 Marines that lost lives or casualties. So.
Did you ever see the movie Sands of Iwo Jima with John Wayne?
Yeah, a long time ago.
That was what it was like on Iwo Jima, right?
Yeah. I guess I understand that Clint Eastwood is making a movie with I don't know, somebody else on Iwo Jima.
Flags of Our Fathers. Based
Yeah,
on the book.
yeah. That book I couldn't read just a chapter at a time, and I'd have to put it down. But
Yeah. Did you see Saving Private Ryan, the movie?
no, I didn't want to watch it.
Yeah.
That's
That's a tough one to watch.
yeah. I
Did
had
you ever think about the war after the war, or did you just forget it all?
for probably 30 years, I didn't really think much about it. It's come up in the last at least 20 years, I guess. My first wife passed away. But
So you think about it more now, maybe since you're older now and stuff. And
it seems to be coming up, people like you and
why did you respond to the article in the paper? Why did you call me?
I think my wife and friends called me because I don't think I'd have done it.
You just felt like you wanted to talk a little bit, maybe? Or do you think it's important that we remember about what happened in World War II?
Yeah, it should be taught in school.
Tell me why. I mean, why should we remember? A lot of people are forgetting about it.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people, when I come over to the house and never even heard about it. Never even knew they think about World War II. And these are attorneys, 30, 40 years old. And I sit down and explain it to them, and probably goes into their head, and then they forget about it. And you just get, if you're interested in it, I'll talk to you. If you're not, I don't want to waste your time. And,
Well, why do you think they wouldn't be interested in it? Are they so involved in themselves?
I think so. Anybody have a Kleenex?
Because the title of this is "Lest They Be Forgotten," and it's if we don't remember, we're going to forget.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at this.
Yeah.
It's not taught in the schools really anymore, if it ever was, and I'm amazed by that. But I have found some young people that are very interested in it too. So, but anyways.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's, I think that we should remember, and it was a different generation, a different time in our lives, but it's a piece of American history that I think is important to remember, and for our young people to remember about the sacrifices that went before us, to appreciate the freedoms they have in our country today.
Yeah, that's true. In Philadelphia, I took my wife has a bad back, and she couldn't go this year, but I took my son. Just 63 years old, seeing all the camaraderie that the 20 men that in my in Fox company, and he went to the luncheon we had and a general meeting, and he was astounded, and I think he appreciated it. And you can't do that with everybody, but I was proud of him.
Well, like I said, I think it's important that we remember, and I think a lot of the news media is not reporting it like they could, or it's just, they're not remembering, or I just think it's so important. Of course, I'm a little biased because I've interviewed so many veterans, but
Yeah.
I still think it's real important, and that's part of why I'm producing this film series, is to teach our younger generation about, war, about the freedoms that we have, and so that where they can really appreciate it. And those that have seen this film, the young people have really appreciated what they see, the first-hand account of what happened in war. And but is there anything else about Iwo Jima maybe I didn't ask you that you wanted to tell me?
No, I think we've covered everything, I think.
It was, you had a very unique role, I believe, a very important role as a corpsman. I've heard some incredible stories. Do you know who Greg Emery is? He was a corpsman with the 5th Marine Division. He was in Philadelphia. I've met several corpsmen that were with the Marines, and their stories are all unique. And I could only imagine what it would have been like to have been, corpsmen treating these young Marines that when they were wounded or killed. I mean, I don't think I could have done it.
Yeah. Well, we were young too, all the same age, and it was a great time.
Did you ever feel when you were landing with those young Marines that morning that a lot of these men may not survive that day? Did you ever have those thoughts? Or
I really didn't think anything about it till we hit the shore, and then see all the devastation that was going on.
yeah.
And just you could, they could tell you, by word of mouth how bad it was, but you didn't. You had to be there right in the midst of it to get a revelation of how tough it was.
What got you through it? I mean, faith in God, training. How do you think you survived where you want to go?
I don't know. I survived. I don't know. A lot of us survived, and it's just a job to do. That's really what it was.
Well, it was. Do you consider yourself a hero, Ed, by any means?
No.
Who do you think the heroes of World War II or Iwo Jima?
The ones that are dead. That's the ones.
You think when you're 18, 19 years old, you're invincible, nothing can happen to
You think that, we all thought that, but you sobered up when you had real bullets flying at you.
So you said you'd never been in combat before? This was your
No,
first time?
this is the first.
Do you think you grow up quick when you're around something like that?
Yes, you do. you mature real quick like. But then you come back and get into real life and working or go to college or whatever you're going to do. And, you know, I never joined the American Legion or any of those organizations because most of the people were sitting around trying to figure out what the government's going to give them, and I had no use for that. I just stayed away from that all the time. But there's a lot of people that got into it that deserve it. A lot of them, you know, didn't spend their time in Nebraska the whole time, and just because they were incapacitated from doing what they wanted to do. But that's the way I felt. Maybe I was wrong, I don't know. But
Could I ask you to do one more thing like I had Mort do? Could I have you do a salute for me into the camera? Would that be okay?
Sure.
Go ahead, go ahead. Great.